Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm super excited to share my thoughts and opinions on a Silent Hill game for the PlayStation 5. As a huge fan of the survival horror genre, I've always been drawn to the eerie atmosphere and terrifying creatures that inhabit the world of Silent Hill. But as I was thinking about this game, I started to wonder, what if the creatures from Silent Hill were real? Like, what if the nurses, the pyramid head, and the other monsters that roam the streets of Silent Hill were actually lurking in the shadows, waiting to pounce? And it's not like the idea of supernatural creatures is entirely far-fetched, given that we all know skinwalkers and shapeshifters exist in various cultures and folklore.
I'm alone there now, in our special place.
The new Silent Hill game for the PlayStation 5 looks absolutely phenomenal, with its immersive storytelling, creepy environments, and terrifying monsters that'll keep you on the edge of your seat. The game's use of sound design and visuals creates a sense of unease and fear that's hard to shake off, and I love how the game's narrative is layered with themes of grief, trauma, and the human psyche. As someone who's played through the series before, I can appreciate the attention to detail that the developers have put into crafting this game, and I'm excited to see how it all comes together. The creatures, a hypothetical scenario. So let's imagine what would happen if the creatures from Silent Hill were real. I mean, can you imagine walking down the street and suddenly being confronted by a pyramid head or a nurse? It's a chilling thought, to say the least. If these creatures were to suddenly appear in our world, I think people would be shocked and terrified, and governments would likely try to contain the situation. But the question is, how would you survive in a world where these creatures exist? Would you try to fight back, or would you try to hide and pray that they pass you by? Survival strategies. If I were to find myself in a situation where I had to survive against these creatures, I think I would try to stay calm and think clearly. I'd want to understand the creature's behavior and weaknesses and use that knowledge to my advantage. I'd also want to find a safe place to hide and gather resources like food and water, but the biggest challenge would be dealing with the psychological impact of seeing these creatures. It would be hard to cope with the fear and trauma of encountering such monstrous beings, and I think it would take a toll on your mental health. Skinwalkers and shapeshifters, the real life connection. It's interesting to think about the connection between the creatures in Silent Hill and real-life supernatural creatures, like skinwalkers and shapeshifters. These creatures have been a part of various cultures and folklore for centuries, and they're often associated with shape-shifting, supernatural powers, and evil intentions. If we take a step back and think about it, maybe the idea of creatures like the nurses and Pyramid Head isn't so far-fetched after all. Maybe there's something to be said for the power of folklore and mythology in shaping our perceptions of the world. The psychology of fear. One of the things that fascinates me about the Silent Hill series is the way it explores the human psyche. The games often touch on themes of grief, trauma, and mental health, and I think that's part of what makes them so terrifying. If the creatures from Silent Hill were real, I think it would raise a lot of questions about the nature of fear and how humans respond to it. Would people become more resilient, or would they break down under the pressure? I think it's an interesting thought experiment, and one that can tell us a lot about ourselves and our place in the world. The Creatures of Silent Hill, A Journey into Horror. As we delve deeper into the world of Silent Hill, we encounter a vast array of terrifying creatures that embody the darkest corners of the human psyche. Let's take a closer look at some of these monsters and explore what makes them so unsettling. The main creatures. Pyramid Head. This iconic creature is a symbol of guilt and punishment, representing James Sunderland's inner turmoil and desire for self-inflicted pain. Its imposing figure, clad in a triangular helmet and wielding a massive knife, strikes fear into the hearts of those who encounter it. The nurses. These twisted creatures evoke a sense of dread and anxiety, representing the fears associated with medical settings and distorted human figures. Their voluptuous bodies and grotesquely swollen faces make them a nightmare to behold. The lying figure, this creature represents inner turmoil and self-deception, causing unease and paranoia in those who encounter it. Its hauntingly beautiful design makes it a memorable and terrifying foe. The bubblehead nurse, a manifestation of James' memories of Mary's hospitalization, this creature's obscured face and well-groomed hair make it a haunting presence. The mannequin, this creature triggers fear of inanimate objects coming to life, exploding the uncanny valley effect to create a sense of unease. They're terrifying creatures. The creeper, a giant insect-like creature that lurks in the shadows, reacting highly to light and moving with deadly speed. The scraper, a humanoid creature wielding two large rusty blades, its head quivering rapidly as it scrapes its weapons together. The float stinger, a giant demonic moth that attacks with its large stinger and poisonous gas, representing the manifestation of insect specimens in Alessa's room. The split head, a dragon-like lizard with a vertically split head, its bite capable of delivering a one-hit kill. The bloodsucker, a creature resembling three leeches fused together, sucking up blood and becoming aggressive when approached. The ghosts and victims. Victim 13, the ghost of Sharon Blake, a housewife murdered by Walter in the woods outside Wish House Orphanage. Victim 14, not specified in detail, but part of the victims of Walter's ritual. The ghost of Henry's deceased neighbor, electrocuted by Walter in an old-fashioned electric chair. The significance of Silent Hill monsters. These creatures are not just random monsters, they represent the psychological traumas and guilt of the characters in the game. Each monster has its own unique design and characteristics, reflecting the changing themes and narratives of the games. The evolution of Silent Hill monsters. Throughout the series, the monsters have evolved, introducing new creatures with unique designs and themes. From the iconic pyramid head to the hauntingly beautiful lying figure, each game has brought forth its own set of terrifying monsters that have left a lasting impact on players. What if Silent Hill creatures existed in the real world? Imagine a world where the creatures from Silent Hill are real and they're roaming the streets of a ghost town like Centralia, Pennsylvania. Centralia's abandoned streets and burning mines would provide the perfect backdrop for these monsters to thrive. The eerie atmosphere and sense of desolation would be amplified by the presence of these creatures, making it a place where nightmares come to life. The impact on society. If these creatures existed in the real world, it would likely have a profound impact on society. People would be living in fear, and the government would struggle to contain the situation. The media would be filled with reports of monster sightings and attacks, and people would be desperate for answers. The psychological impact would be immense, with many people experiencing anxiety, PTSD, and other trauma disorders. The role of folklore and mythology. The existence of creatures like the nurses and Pyramid Head would also raise questions about the role of folklore and mythology in shaping our perceptions of the world. Would people start to believe in supernatural explanations for these creatures, or would they look for scientific explanations? The ambiguity would be unsettling, and it would challenge our understanding of reality. Centralia, a real-life Silent Hill.
Kind of hard to explain, but
Centralia, Pennsylvania is a town that's been abandoned due to a coal mine fire that's been burning since the 1960s. The town's empty streets and burning mines make it a hauntingly beautiful place that feels like a real-life Silent Hill. If the creatures from Silent Hill existed in the real world, Centralia would be the perfect place for them to call home.
me too.
The town's atmosphere would be even more foreboding, with the creatures lurking in the shadows and the mines burning beneath the surface. The possibility of survival.
I thought my
If people were to survive in a world where Silent Hill creatures existed, they would need to be resourceful and determined. They would need to find safe places to hide, gather resources, and develop strategies to defend themselves against the creatures. It would be a constant struggle to stay alive, and the psychological toll would be immense. But for those who are determined to survive, there might be a glimmer of hope in finding a way to coexist with these creatures or even defeat them. The enduring fascination with horror. The Silent Hill series has captivated audiences for decades, and its creatures have become iconic symbols of horror. The fascination with these creatures stems from our deep-seated fears and anxieties, which the series expertly taps into, whether it's the fear of the unknown, the fear of loss, or the fear of our own darker impulses. Silent Hill's creatures embody the darkest aspects of human nature. And as long as these fears exist, the creatures of Silent Hill will continue to terrify and fascinate us. That's it for today's video, guys. I hope you enjoyed this deep dive into the world of Silent Hill and its terrifying creatures. If you have any thoughts or opinions on what would happen if these creatures existed in the real world, be sure to leave them in the comments below. And if you haven't already, be sure to check out my social media channels for more gaming content and behind-the-scenes peeks at my gaming adventures. Thanks again for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next video. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more gaming content, and I'll see you in the next video.